Josie Ernest has moved on to the championship. Take on Shannon O'Keefe for the solid performance against Clara Guerrero, 238-214. Well, in this week's USBC Bowling Academy tip, and we were just talking about her, Kim Terrell-Kearney and Rod Ross will tell us why the consistency of your swing and the release point is so important to a well-rounded game.
One of the things that we see a lot of times here at the ITRC is the inconsistency of students' swings and their arm swings, and we really can see how they get into the top of the backswing, and it's not usually in a good place.
Right, and that's really where we see inaccuracies at the arrow and some down at the break point, mostly because there's just from shot to shot, their swing's coming from a different angle.
And they're sliding in the same place, they're laying the ball down in the same place, but it's coming from a different angle at the top of the backswing, down through the shot, through their finish position towards the arrow, and they can see 4 or 5 boards plus difference down at the break point.
Right, so how you get it into the swing is most important, and then at the very same time, how it comes down, that we're not rerouting it, because that's just very difficult to control from shot to shot.
So we really look at 2 stages. One, getting into the backswing or to the top of the swing, and the next stage, how it comes out of the top of the swing into the release. And we just don't want to see a redirecting of the swing coming down to the release. You'll see some of them that if the ball is on the inside or outside of the head, they have to change the direction of that ball in the downswing, which gives them a very small release window. If you miss it a little bit, if it's behind their head and they miss a little bit, the ball goes out to the right. If they hold on to it a little bit longer, it goes actually left. So you have to release it at just the perfect time. If we can get it in line at the top of the head and it just drops down, all of a sudden that release window becomes very wide.
When we're coaching here at the ITRC, a lot of times when I'm looking at the video and we see players who have inconsistent launch angles, the first thing that I'm going to look for is what's going on at the start. Is there an inconsistency with the direction of their push away, which in the end is going to be an inconsistency of where they are at the top of the swing. Sometimes it's inside of their head, sometimes it's outside of their head. And ideally we want to be just directly in line with the head when the ball's at the top of the swing.
Yeah, because you'll get it up to inside their head or outside their head. They have to redirect. So again, that release window is so small that you have to be perfect to be able to keep the ball in line. And we see that quite a bit. The elite players, you can see at the top of the backswing, it's in line with their head. You know exactly where that ball is going. There's no redirection at all on that downswing to the release.
The USBC Bowling Academy provides hundreds of hours of high-quality instructional videos for bowlers of all skill levels. Learn from Team USA and USBC certified gold coaches, as well as other top pros and instructors. Visit usbcbowlingacademy.com today for more information. Shannon O'Keefe, Josie Ernest, college coaches, great bowlers, champions coming up for the title. So here we go. It's Anchor Down versus the Bearcats of McKendree, otherwise known as Shannon O'Keefe, the head coach for the McKendree women, and Josie Ernest, an assistant coach for the Vanderbilt women, and they're ready to go. And at stake, a lot of points, $10,000, and for Josie Ernest, an automatic berth into the Smithfield PWBA Tour Championship here at the PWBA Rochester Open. And on this right lane that Josie Ernest will be getting to, she has 10 strikes. On the left lane, where she's starting, she has 4. She goes a little wide and knocked a sleeper out.
So that was interesting strategy for Shannon. Kind of a missed opportunity there to have her finish on her harder lane. But Shannon has reasons for everything. She's very calculated. So it was probably more offensive than defensive.
Sit.
Easy spare there. I hate to say easy. Nothing's easy, but nice sigh of relief to get that first one out of the way.
Yeah, a little smile, a little okay, fine. Now we'll take a look at Shannon O'Keefe. She's had this is another TV appearance for Shannon O'Keefe. PWBA Lexington Open, she was on that show. Won a rather dramatic game against Shannon Pluhowski with a 1-ball roll-off, but did not win the title. Brianna Cote did that.
Now she's managed to pick a ball that matches her outfit, which is also McKendree, and it's a sea of purple in the audience today.
Yeah, she's got a lot of Bearcats and McKendree t-shirts. That college program was already good, and then the O'Keefe family got there, and that's kicking it up another notch.
Yeah, you could just kind of pan around and see all that purple is all for Shannon.
Yeah, a little Vanderbilt in there too,
Yeah, a little
mixed
bit.
in. I saw some Vanderbilt gear as folks were walking in today.
Now Shannon, the furthest left Shannon got in this tournament during qualifying was the third arrow and going out to the second arrow, and she's about there right now. But it's definitely playing a lot differently than it did during the week.
3-6-10 on that one for Shannon.
So on this shot, again, big difference between left and right lanes. Here she throws a decent shot, very accelerating through the swing as she traditionally does. She's trying to keep it 2 or 3 right of that last marker down the lane, and you can see that it just kind of went over the middle. So this is hopefully a good spare for her.
And it is. Now this is the business-like Shannon O'Keefe. This is not her normal personality by any means. But out there under the lights, you're not going to get a lot of smiling from Shannon. Anywhere else, absolutely.
Well, it's not always about smiling. It's business out there for her.
Yes, it is.
Now she's from O'Fallon, but she grew up, or she spent a lot of her time in Rochester.
Did Shannon. Josie is from Vandalia, Illinois, but
Correct.
now in Nashville. That's a big snappy turn.
Oh,
and
she almost took that pin out with the 4-pin.
Yep.
We can watch that again carefully here. The ball really comes into the head pin high there. We get a little kiss from the 4, and it's gonna topple it. Oh, so close. Shooting her spares always from the 5th arrow or so. You see a lot of that from the ladies on tour now. It's closer to the 5th arrow. You see a lot of the players shooting their spares than the 4th arrow, like we did, say, I don't know, 30 years ago, back in the rock ages of my career.
Now, Josie just 28, too. That's the other thing. Her best years are ahead of her, I think. And victory here and then a chance to go to that PWBA Tour Championship in Virginia is really going to just not only boost her confidence and her profile, but just another step in her growth.
If anyone's Pokemon going, experience points. Very important.
That time through the nose, and that left lane's been a little bit tricky, and so she is looking at a 3-6-10 now, as Shannon O'Keefe had to deal with earlier.
She's not trying to complicate the process of trying to figure out the lane. She's just trying to stay within herself, which she says is one of her strengths. She really tries to stay in her own game but be aggressive at the same time.
You don't get a bonus for making that one, but if you convert a 7-10 split on our CBS Sports Network finals, you'll receive a $100,000 bonus courtesy of Ultimate Bowling Products. Shannon O'Keefe, her 5th appearance this summer on television. And a couple of wins. Also won the Lucy. In fact, she's won the last 2 Lucys with Bill O'Neill. That's a crossover, and she is fortunate to have left just the 3.
Don't see a lot of players missing the ball right today. Do you see a theme here?
Yeah, I do. You're right. So how do you avoid what just happened here?
Well, you have to create a little bit more angle through the front part of the lane, but not too much. It's a very delicate line. She might want to move like one board, but on the sport pattern, is a lot of times the girls are just thinking, throw a better shot from the same place.
Watch live early round coverage of all PWBA events, plus live and on-demand coverage of all of the best professional bowling action on Extra Frame. Visit extraframe.tv for more information or to subscribe today. Oh, that was an interesting one. She's left with the 5-pin. It just slid a little bit off. And we've seen it 1,000 times, Kim. Sometimes you go too far one way and you compensate and you overcorrect.
Yeah, and once again, everyone is trying, that left lane is everyone's problem lane. And she's spending a little time trying to, it's very delicate. You have to throw it perfectly within a half inch.
So both players making their spares so far, and that's what it's come down to. We've had just one strike. That was by O'Keefe on her first ball.
All the strikes are missing. Now, where'd they go? They were all in last game.
Josie Ernest certainly had. Playing Clara Guerrero bowled well. Just, it's tough to beat somebody who gets into the 230s.
Good shot off her hand there.
There you go, 10
Never
straight.
a doubt on that one.
Yep, absolutely. She didn't even have to talk to the ball. That was such a pretty shot.
She really drops that ball into her steps, which really keeps her swing very loose. To me, she doesn't look very excited getting up on this lane.
This is the trip to the dentist right now. Yep. Sometimes the trip to the dentist doesn't hurt, though, and it's a solid double for Josie Ernest. We talked a little bit about Brianna Cote, and there she is, the PWBA Lexington Open champion. So she will be in that group of 16, that very select group for the Smithfield PWBA Tour Championship in Virginia. We know Shannon O'Keefe is already there. Josie Ernest hasn't gotten the envelope yet. She'll get that invitation if she can win this match. And a ball change for Shannon.
She made eye contact with her husband/coach, Brian O'Keefe. They gave some twin language hand signals, and before you know it, she's changing balls.
Before you know it, she gets her second strike of the match, and a powerful one at that.
We had a nice conversation the other day about getting into 2016 and what has made everything come together. And she says it was really the U.S. Open loss, the devastation of the loss last year to Liz Johnson, that really brought everything together this year, because it kind of refocused her, and she really wants this for her team, her McKendree team.
And unfortunately, a 4-6-7. Well, look, if you lose a U.S. Open final to Liz Johnson, you're one of plenty of people who have done that now that Liz has 5 U.S. Open championships. But you're right, Shannon was devastated. She had a chance. She left an open in the 10th. A tough spare to make, but she's made them before. 1-2-4-10, and then Liz closed her out. And it was difficult. There's no question. How do you not feel badly about that? She'll take the punt. There's Brian O'Keefe. There'll be more communication. This time they can actually talk to each other, and they probably will during the break. Right now, Josie Ernest has the 20-pin lead. She'll lead off at the 6th when we return. So in 2015, Liz Johnson won the Player of the Year, and guess what? She's the front runner to do it again. Now, this is based on total points, and that's where Liz is right now on top. That U.S. Open Championship certainly helps. Danielle McEwen and Shannon Bluhowski, then Clara Guerrero in 4th, Rocio Restrepo in 5th, and Shannon O'Keefe in 6th. And Shannon will get a little boost from this event, win or lose.
It's all so close and yet so far. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Coming back from the break. Now, the last time Josie Ernest came back from break, she doubled. That is hard to do. It pushes, and she continues her post-break streak of strikes.
I was watching Shannon's expression just behind her as she got up on the approach, and Shannon is quite perplexed about this right lane now. But Josie, again, a lot of rotation. I'd just like to see her just throw it just a little harder, just to keep it in the same part of the lane.
Well, She's in position to really throw some shade at Shannon O'Keefe here with another strike.
The dogs on her shirt are barking.
Man, 10 straight back for Josie.
What a great shot out of Josie. Look at her, she's having fun.
Kind of smile like, yeah, did I do that? Yeah, I did that.
She mentioned this to me. She wants to remember these little bits and pieces of every show and really get the experience out of it. So that's why she's kind of loosening up here. And there's some juice.
Yep. Shannon's on that lane. Oh, and she got a tap on the 10. Still kicking. There's no way she's not going to go down without a big fight.
There was a little debate happening between her people and her on the break about ball reaction, and she kind of liked it. You know, it still comes down to what the player feels is the best.
Yeah,
because you got to be the one throw the ball,
right,
and be confident in it.
Well, I did hear a little bit of that conversation. 3 words I did were, "I'm not happy."
Yeah. Great shot there.
Well, beautiful. So she answers back, and that's all she could do if she wanted to stay in this match.
That should make her a little happier.
Except when she looks up and sees she's still down 30 to somebody who's nailed 4 straight strikes.
Well, she's not out of time yet.
Nope.
We've got 10 frames here. Josie taking quite a bit of time there. Oh, great shot off her hand.
Look out, Brooklyn.
Oh, and it just hooked in that middle part, right around the 12 board. Let's take a look at that. That was unexpected. I don't believe that actually happened, but she get the ball into her swing pretty good. Turn the ball a little earlier. That's what made the ball roll a little soon. And she knew that. You could tell she's immediately mental process trying to regroup that and get the feel of the swing and way her hand should go.
Ooh, that sounded funky. She got it, though.
We're bowling, we're not basketball.
Yeah,
Oops.
that's a shot you hear on a Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock at your local bowling establishment. Let's listen into that little double bouncer here if we can.
You might hear her go, oof. Oh. But it was headed the right way, so fortunately it was covered.
So her lead trimmed to 28, and we get to the foundation.
She threw a really good shot on this lane last time. Let's see if she can do it again.
Gotta hurry. She did throw a pretty good shot and is left with a 10-pin.
It was a little tentative at the bottom, like she tried to help it a little extra. You can tell by her deep breaths that there was probably a breathing issue in the middle of her approach that maybe caused that to happen. See, she's already taking some quicker breaths, which really, you can see that really affects the quality of the shot.
She's so close. Now you talk about so close and so far.
Right.
That trophy has to feel like it's 1,000 miles away right now, but she's got to take care of the simple business, so it's not so simple, like cleaning up a 10-pin.
And no double bounce.
She did that very well. Now she's going to have to watch and see what happens here with Shannon O'Keefe. Max for Josie's at 233. Shannon's max is at 226. Let's see if Shannon's going to force Josie Ernest to have a big 10th frame.
Real aggressive shot there.
Wide. She needs a message, and she's not going to get it, so she's going to have to come up with a mini miracle on this one.
I think she just got this a little further right with the speed, and that ball just doesn't want to make the turn quite as easily as it does on the left lane.
Well, you think Josie Ernest is having a hard time breathing now, but before, she is so close. She's trying not to celebrate.
Very disappointed. Shannon.
Well, you know what? She can celebrate. She won. Josie Ernest is a first-time champion. There's nothing that can happen here that Shannon O'Keefe can do. She can strike out for a 192, but Josie's already sitting at 193.
What a way to win your first title. She's still trying to do the math in her head, I think.
No more thinking is required, Josie. So look at who she had to beat. She had to beat a Hall of Famer, and Carolyn Doran Ballard. She did that. She beat Clara Guerrero, an international star, an accomplished talent, and she's beaten Shannon O'Keefe, who's had this fantastic 2016 season and will certainly be part of the PWBA championship. And now Josie Ernest is invited.
The Titan Slayer, I will call her from now on.
Well, she was today. Not that she's not a player now. I think it's sinking in now. Not that she is not an accomplished player in her own right, but this might be the biggest day of Josie Ernest's professional career.
And what a way to go up. She gets to go up in a 10th frame and celebrate the whole 10th frame.
Yep. This will be a fun one to throw for Josie. So another first-time champion this summer. We have a first-time champion here, Brianna Cote, who won the PWBA Lexington Open, and now we're going to have another first-time champion right here. Well, that's how you do it.
What a way to end it.
Good for her.
Now she can relax. She's double-checking the score. She's triple-checking the score, making sure she's in the right building in the right place. Wait a minute, am I really a champion?
Yeah, she's looked at that big board. There's a board the players can see that is off of camera range, and it gives them an opportunity. It's it's almost like a giant film screen from elementary school type thing. And she triple checked that, as Kim said, a couple times. She's going to punch out a champ.
And she's looking off to the side to see if her banner is ready.
That's
if it's
right.
been prepared and already placed up there for her.
You get a banner when you win. Remember at the U.S. Women's Open a while back, New Wei Fen, I asked her what would it mean to win. She says, I want a banner. There you go.
There it
Josie
is.
Ernest gets a banner, a $10,000 check, her first championship. And a berth in the Smithfield PWBA Tour Championship, and this is also our Smithfield moment of the match. Josie Ernest taking the trophy back to Nashville. Anchor down. Your champion is Josie Ernest, who defeated 3 sterling stars of the PWBA to pick up title number 1 of what we hope will be many. So Josie Ernest went all the way up the step ladder, defeating Carolyn Doran Ballard, then Clara Guerrero on a strike fest, and then Shannon O'Keefe with a pretty clean game for Josie. 229. Look at how she bowled as she got better all the time, and when she had to have it, she had it, and earning her first win on the PWBA Tour. Mike Sled, the director of league development for Bullmore AMF, will present the trophy to our champion, Josie Ernest. And Josie is standing by with Kim Adler. Kim?
So Josie, wonderful night. Great bowling. How does it feel to be a first-time champion?
It's a pretty indescribable feeling. I've had the opportunity to win and compete in a lot of different things, but this one pretty much tops them all.
Well, congratulations to you. Great tournament, and we'll see you in the Players' Championship.
Cool, thank you.
It's more than cool. The great bowling by Josie Ernest is cool enough to earn herself that nice trophy, a beautiful check, and the berth in the Smithfield PWBA Tour Championship. She's one of only 16 who will be at that event. Congratulations, Josie.